Hello to you, I'm Adrienne Banker. Thanks for joining us today on Plugged Into DFW. Women are assuming more and greater roles in our armed forces, including combat positions, and they suffer the same traumas and stresses as men. There is a specialized organization for women and by women to help these female vets deal with life after service. Grace After Fire began operating in 2008, attracting hundreds of women in search of crisis support services. The mission of Grace After Fire is to provide the means for women veterans to gain knowledge, insight, and self-renewal. Their goal is to protect the veteran, connect resources to the veteran, and renew the woman. Grace After Fire also fights homelessness for women veterans and helps with PTSD for those who have served in the military. The organization also helps moms reconnect with their children after returning from overseas. Now, throughout our interview with Grace After Fire, we're going to have some information up on the screen for you. You can get in touch with the organization at graceafterfire.org. The phone number is 1-800-362-6477. And we'll begin our talk with Grace After Fire in just a moment. Welcome back to Plugged Into DFW. I'm Adrienne Banker. Now we're talking about help for women veterans today. Grace After Fire is an organization designed to serve women veterans. Grace After Fire designed to serve those from all eras and all branches of military service. It's a virtual organization that is nationwide, and it is managed by women veterans and their family members. And ladies, you're going to be talking about a little more active role in combat operations in the future. A Pentagon plan calls for women to start training as Army Rangers by the middle of 2015. 1 year later, the Pentagon will allow women to get ready for the Navy SEALs program. And currently, women make up about 14% of the 1.4 million active U.S. military personnel. CBS 11's Robbie Owens has more on this story.
We were the front runners for women.
In the mid-70s, when Lisa Skier began her military career, women were still rare, especially in fields like electronics.
That was just not something a woman did. It was difficult because there were so few of us doing the job.
But over the years, that too has changed. According to Skier, more than 200,000 women have served our nation in Iraq and Afghanistan.
They've carried weapons right next to their fellow soldiers and shown that they can do the job that they have been trained to do, and they don't need the protection any more than the men need the protection.
Nevertheless, certain infantry and frontline positions were still off limits. Not anymore. Under a plan just made public, military officials will gradually begin tearing down the barriers that prevented women from holding thousands of combat and special operations jobs.
Supporters of the new policy say women have served in combat zones for decades. The difference now, they say, is the nation is acknowledging that fact and also providing the additional training that those service members need to be more effective.
Full integration is expected by January 2016.
I am so proud that our nation is moving forward and accepting the fact that women can do the same job that men can do with the same training.
In Richland Hills, Robbie Owens, CBS 11 News.
And joining us today for the program is Lisa Skier, whom you saw in the story with Robbie, program coordinator with Grace After Fire. And Lisa was in the Air Force for 13 years, retiring as a captain. Also with us is Amber Wilson. Amber served one tour in Iraq, returning to the United States in 2005. We want to start with the homelessness issue because in a break I was able to ask you, Amber, were you homeless? And you said yes a few times. Joining the Army right out of high school, why were you homeless, I guess is the big question. Was there no one who could help you?
At the moment, I didn't feel like anyone could help me because no one understood me. I was having nightmares. I was drinking excessively to make the nightmares go away. I was basically hopeless because my hope was in being in the military. I planned on retiring, making that my career. So when I got out, I was real hopeless, and I didn't know who to turn to, who to talk to. I didn't feel like anybody understood me. My family didn't understand me because I wasn't the same person that left. I wasn't the same child that left. Now I'm an adult. I'm a grown woman that has seen death in front of me. I've zipped body bags, so I'm not the same person. So it's really hard to ask people for help that don't understand you.
And how did you find Grace After Fire?
It was dropped in my lap, actually. I had anger issues when I got out. I was frustrated. I was mad all the time. I couldn't understand what was wrong, what was mentally wrong with me. And I got into some legal trouble for fighting. I was fighting a man because he was basically degrading the fact that I chose to go to the Army. It was my choice, and you know, so now I got in a fight and I have had an assault on my record, and the judge basically told me that I'm gonna offer you this program. You can take it. It's probably best that you take it and see if they can help you. Because as a man, I don't know how to help you, but maybe they can.
And specifically the group, Lisa, of course, deals with post-traumatic stress disorder, which it sounds like Amber was dealing with, and so many of our female veterans deal with. Do you think that that's a main cause for homelessness, for feelings of abandonment, anger issues? Are these all a result of the trauma from having to see what war is really like?
I think that's a big part of it. I think our women go away to serve and they come home and life is different. And a lot of times the women who leave to serve actually are leaving something and running away. And so when they come back, even though they ran away, they're hoping that things have changed when they come back, and a lot of times they haven't changed. So they still don't have the support that they would like. And so we are able to provide them a talk around the table, so to speak, to work out their issues.
And that's one of the main ways to combat post-traumatic stress disorder, is giving them an outlet, some counseling quite often, is that right?
I think what we do is we have a program called Color Me Camo, and it's talking around the table. We have found that women like to talk, and they like to talk to each other around the table. And so this is we give them the opportunity to be in a peer facilitated discussion, and so we train veterans to understand the issues if they haven't gone through themselves, and then to work with women around the table to just talk about where they've been, where they want to go, and what their future holds. And so they go through a whole process of just rediscovering themselves.
And Amber, have you rediscovered a new life after all of that? What is life like today for you?
Wow. Actually, I can honestly say that Grace After Fire was a blessing to me, because looking back on, and we were just talking about that, looking back on where I began when I started this journey to where I am now, you can't give up. You have to just keep persevering, because it does actually get greater later. In the end, I smile every day now, and I couldn't find that smile a couple of years ago, but now I wake up because I'm grateful to be able to wake up and have some peace of mind, know that I have sisters at Grace After Fire that I love talking to them, because they actually do understand. They actually understand. Before I can sometimes say what's going on inside of me, I have a mentor that she knows exactly what to say to me.
Right.
Like, almost like my twin, if I had a twin. She knows me better, almost like I know myself to this point, and I'm grateful. I feel good.
Well, we're glad you do. I mean, every single life touched, it's going to make a huge difference to a community. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about this organization. We'll be back with more on Grace After Fire after this. Thanks for joining us. I'm Adrienne Bankert. We are back with Lisa Skier, program director, program coordinator, that is, with Grace After Fire. Lisa was in the Air Force for 13 years, retiring as a captain. Amber Wilson served one tour in Iraq, returning to the U.S. in 2005. And we're talking particularly about how female or women veterans deal with life after they get out of the service, and just the life of mothers in this case. Let's talk about how a lot of challenges come up when you have a mother who's separated from her children for periods of time in a very traumatic situation. What does Grace After Fire do to make those moms' lives a little bit easier when they return from service?
I think one of the things that we have going for us at the moment is we actually have one of our outreach coordinators who deployed while her children were very young, and so she can certainly empathize with what went on. Her youngest was an infant when she left and was a toddler when she came back, and the stresses of trying to reintegrate to a family that's continued on is really difficult. So again, talking around the table, moms can compare with each other's what they've gone through. Are they crying? How do I help them stop crying? How do I get over that sense of loss of the time that you actually lost while you were deployed and didn't see your children on a day-to-day basis? I was fortunate that my deployment was to Germany because I was stationed there, and so I didn't have to leave my daughter. But I do know many women that come back with a sense of loss because they didn't have the time with their kids that they thought that they should.
And Amber, do you have any perspective on this? I mean, obviously, when women are serving together, like you were saying, we like to talk. So I'm sure in the barracks, you guys are talking about, oh man, you know, I feel so guilty leaving my kids, but I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yes, because being in the military, that becomes your family. You have to depend on each other. And I was grateful to not have a child while I was in the military, but at the same time, have sisters that had children. So at times they would have to go to the field. I would have to help them and babysit their kids, but it was stressful for them as well as their children because their kids don't, I mean, babies don't understand why mom, where's my mama? Why didn't she come get me from, you know, today from school or whatever the case may be. And, you know, that is extremely hard to see, especially from a child, because it's like, I want to protect this child, but my job is to protect this child, so
Right.
I have to go train, or I have to do,
Or provide.
Exactly.
Because again, a lot of people get into the military and it's a means to an end. Obviously, it's something that they have a passion for, but it's also a paycheck. Okay, I want to word this next question very carefully because strength is beautiful. But a lot of women who serve in the military, you almost, do you think you have to get hardened in order to deal with men, male soldiers, but also just the confines of war, and then you come back to civilian life, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I don't even feel comfortable in a hair salon. Tell me about your experience. Maybe start with you, Amber.
Well, I do think that you have to toughen up to be in the military. That's just a part of the role. That's a part of the job. You have to pretty much take the makeup and all that and throw it out at least until the weekend or until you get your own free time to put it back on. But I didn't even really put it back on then. I just built a wall because now I can't, the beauty in me could get me killed. I mean, when you're deployed with men have needs that they feel that they have to get met. So you have to be just as strong to keep yourself safe and keep yourself alive. So, I mean, I feel like that played a big part of who I ended up turning into because I didn't understand how to tap into being a woman. I mean, at the prime time that I needed to learn how to be a woman, I was learning how to fight. I was learning how to kill. I was learning how to throw a grenade. You know, so the feminine part of me, I just now started to accept and love, and it's a beautiful feeling once you actually take the time to try to tap into it, because the lost woman is inside of us. She's just hidden behind the warrior that wants her to stay safe. So, you know, it's time to let the woman come out, and, you know, she'll feel good once she does.
And Lisa, do you guys have special programs to try to get women more acclimated to? It's okay. You don't have to be a warrior right now.
It's part of our Table Talk program, Color Me Camo, and you go through role playing about how you were and how to change things. I think the military, as you said, women are only about 14 to 15% of the military. So in order to survive, you have to be like who you serve with. And so it does take a certain powerfulness within yourself to do that. And it's hard to come back out of it when you come back and us sitting around the table. We don't see a guy sitting here, you know, discussing these kinds of things because men traditionally don't. So we offer the opportunity for women to speak amongst themselves about getting better, coming out. We have end of cycle celebrations where we do dress up and makeup and spa retreats and things. So you can feel like a woman again.
Right. Well, everybody likes to get their nails done, even the guys. Stay with us. We'll have a look at another program helping veterans after this. I'm I'm Adrienne Bankert. Welcome back to Plugged Into DFW. Continuing our theme of services for veterans, Pets for Patriots is one of the only organizations committed to both veterans and the homeless. And we have information for you to get in touch with Pets for Patriots. The parent organization is petsforpatriots.org. Really easy to remember at 877-473-8223. And locally, you can find out more from KatieTrailAnimalHospital.com. And their number is 214-363-4463. And joining us now in studio, veterinarian Dr. Beth Bergen with the Katie Trail Animal Hospital in Dallas. And you brought a little friend named Molly. Mm-hmm. Yes, she's been such a good dog. I think she's curious about this TV studio, though.
Yeah, she's a little overwhelmed, but that's okay.
Yeah, the cameras do that to everybody, humans included. So, Dr. Bergen, how did Katie Trail come to be involved with Pets for Patriots?
Well, we have a heart for trying to serve those who've served our country. And Pets for Patriots is pretty amazing because they are able to connect veterans with dogs who need homes in the shelters. And so we heard about them and we volunteered online, basically.
And how can veterans adopt a pet through this program?
They would need to go to petsforpatriots.org and fill out the application process, show basically proof of their service. Service members who are currently in the military and not even retired or veterans can do it as well.
Awesome.
And so they just need to show either proof of their orders or proof of their service, and then go to a partner shelter or a partner rescue organization and show that they're a Patriot member.
Now, what are the benefits? Because I think a lot of animal groups have come up in terms of serving those in need and serving veterans specifically. So what has been the primary help? I would think that it would help those who've maybe gone through some depression or disassociation with regular life, post-traumatic stress disorder, things like that.
Right. So the human-animal bond is amazing because when you have an animal right next to you who loves you unconditionally, no matter what, it helps ground you. Mm-hmm. And so that is probably one of the biggest benefits to those who've served because it helps give them a focus. Mm-hmm. And then it definitely also helps them, they have someone who loves them no matter what and understands and doesn't ask questions.
Right.
And so that's great.
There's no judgment. Mm-hmm. Because I think a lot of times, as much as we as a country have gotten behind a lot of our veterans, there's still more work to be done as far as relating to veterans. And a dog, or even a cat, is not going to judge or question, like you said. It's also going to be somebody or something that service member can take care of.
Right, and it also gives them, because the way Pets for Patriots works is they try to only adopt animals who are not always adoptable from shelters. So puppies and kittens aren't part of the program because they tend to be very adoptable. But it's older dogs over 2 years old, big dogs over 40 pounds, or any dog or cat that has a disability as well. Because they tend to be less adoptable in the shelters. Yeah. And so they they're called the last chance pets, basically.
Right. So. Well, it's a last chance, but we all have some purpose. And then are you seeing a lot of veterans who have themselves had to have amputations and possibly are now disabled vets?
We can, yes. Yeah. So
that's kind of a part of life nowadays. Post-war, a lot of people coming back with injuries and needing prosthetics, but also needing some doggies that might bring some joy to a household. That's a wonderful thing. Well, thank you for all the good work that you're doing at Katie Trail, and also just thank you for bringing in Molly. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We were talking earlier with the ladies from Grace After Fire and discussing how female veterans are affected by war and what they're doing to kind of help them acclimate back into regular life. I would be interested to find out how many women were coming through your doors and checking in with Pets for Patriots to see if they can adopt a pet.
We do see quite a few women. We are all women veterinarians, and so it helps, I think, have a connection as well. I don't have a number off the top of my head for you, but it is, I think, another reason that people come. But also the way, as a Pets for Patriots service provider, through the veterinarian aspect, they have a have a discounted service rate, basically, when they come.
So when they come, there is an actual discount that that applies.
Yes.
So you don't pay the same as you would if you were to go to the shelter. You have your card, your membership.
Right. So basically, when they have to show that they're Pitch for Patriots membership card when they come in the first time, and then anytime they come in for services at our clinic, it's a discounted rate. So that's the way the organization tries to make it more affordable to have an animal, because it can definitely get expensive.
Yeah, and my brother-in-law, he served in the Army and dealt with some post-traumatic stress disorder. Is there any personal story that you have of a family member or a friend of someone you knew that served? Is that where the passion comes from, or are you just one of those good-hearted people that likes to give back?
We do like to give back. I do have some cousins in the military as well. One who recently retired after a full career. And they just recently adopted 2 dogs as well.
Well, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Well, adoption makes sense. Right, Molly? Molly, you listening? This is television, live television. I need you to look alive, soldier.
know.
Well, she's kind of sleepy.
Get a ball out here and she'll perk up.
Okay, word to my producer, next time, get a ball. It only will take 30 seconds. I found a lint brush for this long-haired doggy, but we needed a ball and maybe some snacks, right? All right. Well, we want to thank Molly, and thank you to our veterinarian. Thank you, Dr. Bergen. And thank you to Grace After Fire.